It's the hot show, and I don't know how it's gonna go. It's the hot show, and I can't guess what's gonna happen next. So come on and join in. Let's do the hot show. Howdy, welcome to the hot show. I'm Hot the Cat, and I'm so glad to be here tonight. We got a really nice show lined up tonight. Of course, not many plans, but I think it'll be really a nice time. Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, let's just get started. All right, Lynn Rye, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you.
Um, I probably should have introduced you a little bit, but
Okay.
what I found in like trying to like just write like a little short thing uh, in like kind of trying to promote this episode with you on it and stuff um, is that you are not an easy person to just like, oh, you're just a musician, or like, you're just like an activist. Like it's it. You're a pretty complex person, uh, and
Well,
with
that's putting it very nicely. Thank you. Story of my life, man. Whenever anyone asks for a bio, I'm tempted just be like, I'm a person. I don't know what else to tell you.
well, at the same time, it's like I think all the different facets, like the facets that like are things that I would want to say, like are all very interesting and like very like they're all like very true parts of yourself. Uh,
Mm,
so like it's like I wouldn't want to like take anything out.
mhm.
And so like yeah, I understand the feeling of like I'm just a person. Like,
Uh,
you're also like a very unique person that
mm.
I'm really pleased to have on the stream. I think that I've really uh, you're somebody that as this kind of started developing, I thought, oh man, at some point I would really love to have Lynn Rye on this.
Oh, well, I'm certainly chuffed to hear that.
So, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, had a nice full day, but feeling like this is a really nice cap to a full day. It's like a very different way to unwind and spend some time with a friend and whoever else joins the stream. Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen? Uh,
Yeah.
I We do have some friends kind of joining in the wings here, but I think I'd like to maybe spend just a little bit time like kind of chatting with you because we we've kind of like floated around in the Chicago music scene
Mhm.
together quite a bit. But like I feel like it's it's always such a pleasure to like see you, but it's so rare that we actually uh, really like sit and talk, you know?
Yeah, this is
Like,
true.
which is like sometimes a hard thing, just like at shows and stuff, you kind of miss, you know,
Mhm.
like you chat for a minute, but like, yeah, you're playing a
Right. It's not a great talking environment a
yeah,
lot of the time. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right. And I feel like we've almost like gotten to know each other musically. You do learn a lot about a person by just hearing their music in a variety of different contexts, but very different things than you learn in just regular conversation. Um,
right.
Other than that one night at El Ranchitos, you remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Uh,
The
yeah, that was,
divisive restaurant. El Ranchitos.
yeah, divisive tacos.
Yeah.
We have a commenter here. Hello, Amy. Amy is a good friend of the show.
Hello,
Uh,
Amy.
yeah, so you just released a new album, which is wonderful. I've been
Oh,
listening
thank
to it
you.
all week. Uh, Soft Blood.
Yeah, soft blood.
Um,
Mm.
I I have really been enjoying this album. I liked your first album, Roots of Rye, quite a
Mhm.
lot. I listened to like when that came out and like kind of the over the course of time, I've listened to it a bit, and this album is very different than that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it is.
so
It really is.
uh, I'm for people who like have not heard your music. Um, I guess I'm curious, like how would you kind of describe the progression from one to another? I know that's a big question here, but
Yeah, well, the first thing is it it goes from accident to intention. Um,
okay, yeah, yeah,
because the first album that I did, Roots of Rye, I didn't set out to make an album. What I set out to do was to write one song every week and to make a demo recording of it that I just threw up on SoundCloud, and then make a little 1 minute video for every song that I would release on social media. So it was very experimental. I had no idea where it was going. It was all me in my room. I was making the beats, I was recording, I was doing everything. It was very much a sort of bedroom experiment.
hmm
But it really took off. And so I ended up deciding to go back to the demo recordings and kind of polish them up a little bit to release. So it was very much an accidental album. um,
yeah,
and I didn't have a band or anything. And in the years since then, I just really sort of committed to it and started playing with a band. And this new album, The Soft Blood, it was really a chance to not only showcase the work that the band have done, the sound that we've developed over the years, but also a completely different set of songs, a completely different process.
Um, I went back and re-listened to Roots of Rye uh, yesterday, and
Mhm.
after listening to the new album, it experimental is what came to my mind. Like
Yeah.
that, it feels so experimental, and I'm kind of curious if like you you missed that process at all in the making of the new one, or um, if like the intentionality of like a working with the band and like having these songs that I know that you've been like kind of working with for a while, right?
Mhm.
Um, and especially like in that band context, like if that kind of just overshadowed the like instinct to experiment, kind of, or like
Mm.
it's a different kind of experimentation, maybe.
Well, I think the context of our lives in the past couple of years um, informs my answer to this, which is that for this particular set of songs, so all of the songs on Soft Blood are all story songs. And I wrote most of them during the pandemic and was just like accompanying myself on the bass alone in my room. And I was so eager to have these stories told and held with my band that I was missing very dearly.
Mm.
But I didn't stop experimenting. I was so grateful for all of the skill that I had developed doing Roots of Rye, making music alone in my room, and I directed it towards other things. I did some like some film scoring, like for some short films
Oh, cool.
over the pandemic, and that was where all of the experimental sort of noise, beat making, found sound samples, that all came out, in a different way during the worst of the pandemic, when that was what I had access to, and that's what people wanted for some of these videos. So,
Oh, that's very interesting.
hmm
That's very cool.
yeah.
I that what you said there. Oh, great question, Amy. Where can we see these videos?
Good question. There's one in particular that I would love to share. It's a short film about migrant child detention in Chicago and in the U.S. And uh, yeah, it's a not to totally shift gears to talking just about this video, but it's a video that I'm so honored that I got to be a part of. There's a whistleblower, a survivor of one of those detention centers, who gave testimony, and that I was part of the community groups that was doing a lot of that work and that recorded the testimony. And he really wanted it turned into something that could be shared with a wider audience. And he's a rapper as well. And so I did this really kind of atmospheric stuff under his testimony. And then he wrote a rap and we collaborated remotely on almost like scoring his rap to finish the film. So
Oh,
is
wow.
there a chat
Yeah,
or
there's a chat. I don't always know what it looks like for guests, but I think on the right there is a private chat that you can uh, put in, and I can broadcast it out.
gotcha. Um, hmm.
And actually, we probably could watch it.
Yeah, let me I can just bring it up real quick.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you bring it up and share it,
Mhm.
it'd be pretty easy to just kind of put it on the stream.
Cool. Let me just do this real quick.
Oh, uh, while you're doing that, so last week on the Hot Show, um, we were working on projects. That was kind of the big thing. Woot! It was based on a dream that I had where uh, we all just howled oot together and then worked on projects. Um, just separately, kind of. And so
Ugh.
we did that last week. Um, and one of the things that we came up during that is that sometimes things take a very long time to unfold as you're working on them. And so at the end, we started writing this little song. Um, and I want to share it because we've already kind of gotten started with this episode and like us chatting and everything. Uh, yeah, I think you'll understand why I want to sing it quickly, kind of
Yeah.
get it out of the way here. These things take time, like needle point fire, a stitch in the sky. We've got to try. It's a story somebody told me, something to hold on to when you feel lost. And it's a home we form ourselves, something, a place warm and covered with moss. But these things take time, like needle point fire, or stitch in the sky. We've got to try, and in the meantime, let's have an evening with Lynn Rye.
Oh, yes. I feel like that song is just gonna live in my head now, and anytime I need patience while I'm doing something, I'm like, these things take time. Well, thank you.
Yeah, but I try to write a little song every week, and that one just kind of like unfolded from this previous week. Just all of us kind of hanging out and started writing a song, and I was really pleased to like let it kind of unfold after like listening to like your music and like
Mm.
the stories that you tell and like kind of the themes of what you're talking about. There's so much about kind of like building and growing uh, and like telling these stories and stuff. Yeah, and it was very inspiring to me. And
Oh, good.
yeah,
Well, I love that too. To know that you wrote that after listening to some of those songs, and then to hear a song where it's almost like I'm jealous that I didn't write some of those lines, like the line about a stitch in the sky. It's like, dang, that's a good line. Like, I'm so
that,
glad you wrote it, but it's like, oh,
that,
dang, that's a good line.
that actually, incidentally, I did not actually write that line. I believe that was Amy in the chat that wrote that line.
Oh, fire, Amy.
Yeah, let's check out this video though. I'm actually very excited about this.
Yeah, it's 12 minutes long, and it's just a little preface. There's unless you skip like a minute in, which is totally fine. It has this weird intro because it was actually the funding came from the Chicago Parks Department.
Hmm.
Weirdly enough, we had written this grant to do events in the Chicago parks that are closest to like the where the mega crowds attention are in Chicago. But because of the pandemic, we couldn't do any of these events anymore, and so they said just make a video, and this is what we came up with.
Cool. Let me get this pulled up. So hyped for the video, Amy. Yes, I agree. Let me see if I can do this in a way that Okay. We're really a very smooth technical show here.
Uh-huh. I understand the struggle.
Okay, if I pull this to full screen, can you still see it?
Yep, I can still see it.
The thing that I dream is very haunting. Every day I wake up and I get scared because I have dreams that I'm still in there. And when I was in there, I had dreams that I was out. In those places, they have your name and they don't call you. Well, they can't call you by the name, but they have a number. And my number was 25. We couldn't eat whenever we wanted. We had to wait for them to give us a meal. There was a yard in the back. We went out one time a day for I believe an hour. I mean, everything was designed to look like a house. But it was given a fake, what did you say? We couldn't go out of rooms whenever we wanted. They told us we have to stay in there. Every weekend they will make us clean the whole house, and I would question and say, why? I'm not using that y'all's job. We're here as the victims. You guys are here working. To them, it was like making a mockery out of the kid. Some of them used to insult us with vulgar words. I mean, they called me a maricon because I used to complain. Because there used to be dads who would tell me to shut the F up because of what I'm saying. Or who the F do I think I am if they're bigger than me and they're the ones that work here, and that at the end of the day, paper wins. And they can write down whatever they want. They're going to believe them and not me because I'm just a kid there. And I will finding the kids to stay quiet, and let them get pushed around verbally. Well, all I saw was the sky, the building next door. But there was, from far away, this big church with many crosses, a lot of crosses. I remember in front, there was a yellow house of a very young girl. She has her boyfriend, because when I was there for a while, so I always saw her boyfriend coming me with flowers. He was about my age, I think. On the side, what I remember, there was always a lot of people there. It was around like apartment complex. We were never allowed to talk to them, but we didn't care. We just said hi. There's cars parked on the side. There was a Zumba class next to there. I remember the alley behind it. It's my favorite place to remember because I always used to stare at that place when I wanted to just think, I guess. I remember when they were taking me in a van. That's when I saw a lot more. I saw a park. I saw, when I went back, I couldn't see because they bring you into the alley. But I do remember going to the street that said Rogers Street. But little by little, I started seeing, I got in trouble because I knew my surroundings. I started reading stuff, and they said that that's supposedly an escape attempt.
Wait, let's back up. So as a detainee, you were not told where you are. Were you told the address where you were?
No. We're not told. We can't know anything. We're not supposed to them.
Were you told the city where you were?
No, all I knew was that I was in Chicago, and they said, you're in Chicago. I heard it on the airport. of that facility, I met one of the most quiet kids ever. Ever. There was kids that didn't talk. Ever. And they didn't show any signs of that. Maybe they did something that to the other place it didn't feel right to them. Just like me, you know? It didn't feel right that I spoke up for every kid. And just like they want to put somebody down, I put them in their place. You know? And that place for the bad kids, I guess I am a bad kid. They stepped me up because I said that I wanted to go home. And I still remember my case manager that was with me. I remember the 2 staff that was there. And because I didn't want to go inside. They were trying to make us go inside. And I was like, I want air. I need air. I need to be out here. I don't want to be inside somewhere where I don't, you know? And that's the reason they sent me to Chicago. Was because I wanted a little bit of air.
For 332 days, were your family able to come and visit you?
No.
During the 332 days, were you able to call them whenever you wanted to?
No, I debated that with them. I wanted to speak to the supervisor, and I said I want to speak to the house manager. The house manager came and I said I want to speak to your supervisor. From then on, it escalated, and I said that I wanted to call the government themselves to see why they only gave us a 10-minute phone call. Like, I don't have 10 minutes to say everything I want to say. My family can't tell me in 10 minutes what they want to say, you know, and that was sucky. And I debated and I debated and I debated till I got that to 20 minutes. And I felt happy because I believed I was a little bit better. You know, everybody else got a 20-minute call. And I was very happy. I don't know if it was because of me, but I mean, I said the idea, I fought for it, and thanks to God, thanks to those kids that were also supporting me, they finally did it. There's another reason why I was dangerous to them. They said because I was so influential that the people around me, they say that supposed because of me, I would start riots. So I couldn't go home with my mom because my mom feared that ICE was going to go to the house, you know? And it didn't seem like that because they said themselves, like, oh, this information goes straight to ICE. If the kid were to get the addresses of the family, straight to ICE. Do you understand the concept now? And I have all the text messages to prove it. I have not deleted them, I have not touched them. And she called me saying that why did I speak out? She said that it was stupid. I'm like, well, then that's my freedom. And I promised them, and I swore to them that when I got out of there, that facility will no longer exist. I swore to them that those kids will be home, those kids will be with their families, and those kids will be with their loved ones.
Yeah. Lately I've been feeling hate inside. Lately life is always full of lies. But I told myself with these people we will bring the truth into the light. All of the hatred is always so hoarded. Maybe because the thoughts are so distorted. I'm not gonna hate like others. Tell you that your mama should have aborted. Listen, government, if love was at a price, can you afford it? Then Think about it. All those families you wanna separate and wanna get deported. That idea sounds like that you started. And you are I see, all that I see, kids losing faith in their dreams. I want to express, but how to explain without anger and stress? How would you feel if I tell you that I'm here to help? But as I tell you that I'm here to help, all that you see is Splinter saying himself. I want to go home. Isolation, anxiety, and fear was the worst that I felt. Of course you won't feel cause it's something you or your kids won't have to deal with, and that's why I yell. Cause it's not a shelter, that was a hell. You call the a room, I call it a cell. Hoping my son was doing well. That doesn't get like an endless well. This is America, land of the free. Where is it at? Cause it's something I don't see. Especially in NYC, the place where I felt how it feels not to breathe. Put yourself inside a cage and tell me if you want to go be free. Honestly, government so blind that with their eyes so open they still can't see. Honestly, the government's amusement is to separate a family. Yeah, I refuse to let those people get your thoughts confused. Yeah, I refuse. Remember when you don't see hope, hope is seeing you. Hope is seeing you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful and heartbreaking.
Yeah. Thank you for playing that. Thank you for making space for that whole film.
Yeah.
Thank you that you watched it.
I think one of the things that is often so striking about when I see you perform, especially, but also kind of just when I see you, is the the passion that you have towards telling those stories. And that's something that really comes through a lot on the album, and particularly seeing when I saw that I was at your album release, and it was you kind of gave a little intro to each song to kind of like explain some of the story behind behind how it came to be, or kind of what you were talking about in it. And I really felt like that was such a, I don't know, like you've been doing that sort of thing every time that I've seen you perform. And it was cool to see like you kind of go through each song of an album and just kind of be like, this is where this came from, and these are the people that are tied up in this story, and these are the emotions that were kind of the genesis for this story to occur.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe you talk briefly about where the album name came from, like as the story of that, because you wrote a very nice little thing as the liner notes
Mhm.
for the album. And I feel like it kind of ties into this kind of storytelling and like passion that you kind of have for like giving voice to um, people whose voices aren't as well heard as they should be.
Yeah, I definitely, no, I feel like storytelling is such a huge part of um, what I try to do publicly. Because like you alluded to at the beginning, there's a lot of things that I'm trying to show up for in my life, and a lot of it is either intentionally pushed to the margins or in some sense has to remain a bit clouded. Um, there's certain reasons for certain things being underground, and then there are other things that are just, that shouldn't be clouded, that are marginalized. And um, when I have a platform and I have the chance to have a voice in public, I feel a tremendous responsibility to share stories in an ethical way. And the album title, Soft Blood, it came, and this is, I think, maybe what you were referring to that I put in the liner notes. I was telling a story to a friend, and it was like a pretty hard story. And the friend commented that he was just like, Lynn, the way that you make a story like that beautiful, it's like you have softness in your blood. And I thought about that comment the whole time that I was writing this new album, because a lot of the stories behind the songs have some sort of sharpness to them. There's some pain there. And I wanted to tell them my way. I wanted to tell them the way that I tell them, whether it's soft or not, but just with the type of almost like the type of ethics and the type of compassion that I want to bring to that storytelling.
Yeah, and I think that really comes through.
Go ahead.
But it's also really interesting because even with the softness of kind of, like the sensitivity that you have to the stories and like the difficulty in those stories, a lot of the songs on the album are like real danceable songs.
Yeah.
Like at the same time, which is really like an interesting kind of like juxtaposition that really, I mean, I've really been enjoying it. I think it kind of works, but it's interesting. I guess I don't know. Is there how has like the danceability kind of I mean, like I know, like there's something I am guessing just about like playing with a band and stuff that like kind of just has that fun quality to it. But like, yeah, I'm really kind of curious how you kind of think of those things together.
I think for me, I'm so hooked on rhythm. And rhythm is such a huge part of how I experience emotions in music. And so I couldn't leave that part out. I didn't want a storytelling song to mean almost like the trope of the sort of like the Irish ballad that has 32 verses and the same chords and the same rhythm throughout, which I love, by the way. No shade to that tradition at all. But I didn't want that to be the mold that I had to fill just because I wanted to tell a story. And I think it's not just the words to me that convey the emotion and the meaning. And I think the rhythm is part of the catharsis for me. Whether it's oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that for those who haven't seen you perform or anything. Like you're a bassist,
Yeah.
and so when you talk about like feeling the rhythm as like part of it, it makes a lot of sense because
Yeah.
that, I mean, bass just kind of shakes you as you're playing it sometimes.
Mhm.
So that makes sense. It does make sense. That the catharsis idea, I think, also kind of I don't know, sort of catharsis through dancing and like kind of movement
Yeah.
is a really nice idea.
Mhm.
Amy says, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah. Yes.
I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if we should listen to a track from
Sure.
the album. I
Yeah.
think that might be kind of fun. And then I know that we have some friends kind of waiting in the wings that have been waiting for a while. So maybe we could kind of open up the conversation a little bit after.
Whatever you
So
please.
now, is there a song that you would like to play?
Mhm.
I have some ones that I've that kind of like have stuck out to me.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
But it's also tricky because like there, like, you know, there are many facets of you. Like there's also like that comes out in the album too. You know,
Yeah,
like
it does.
there's
It's hard to put a pin in it.
right there's because I would say the song that first kind of got me is probably the least dancey song on the album. So like I don't know, I kind of in some ways I want to play that one because I feel like it was sort of my entry into it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, in light of this conversation, I kind of I'm unsure which one to do. I it's tricky.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious what was the track that was sort of the one that got you?
It was um, Plum Wine in the Night.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I
It's very ballady.
I'm really a sucker for slow, sad, beautiful things,
Mhm.
and that one just kind of like uh, it's really nice, and I like the way that it kind of like uh, it has all these kind of like things kind of going on, like that kind of like float around, and then it kind of settles for a moment, and then you kind of go into a thing. I don't know. Maybe we could just play that one as a starting point here.
Yeah.
Let's see if gonna go to the Bandcamp here. Good old Bandcamp. Softblood. LynRye.bandcamp.com. Check it out. Can you hear it?
She tastes like plum wine in the night, warmth in her veins I cannot drink, secrets spilled, wine stains on sheets, but only on her side of the bed. She doesn't see that I still fold my blanket sense of me. Really, who's to blame? She tastes like plum wine in the night, warmth in her veins I cannot drink. Light on pillows, sober waking eyes, all confidences lush orbit, still can't shrift the stranger out of me. Round me to the nearest integer, I never ask for change. Now you cannot make sense of me. Really, who's to blame?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh. Just started going into the next one. Dreamy sounds, yeah. Yeah. I just yeah, I kind of love that dreamy stuff. So I know I've kind of read the liner notes and stuff, but I'm interested. Like, would you want to talk a little bit about kind of where that song came from?
Sure, yeah. So it's both like a very personal song, but then also a really intentional take on an already existing song. So I don't know if any of you are fans of the band Lavender Country. They've been through Chicago a number of times, but Lavender Country is heralded as being one of the very first openly out gay country bands from 1970.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I haven't listened very much.
Yeah, they released one album in the early 70s, and then they couldn't really get a career and just sort of went underground. And then kind of got picked up again by some like country music nerds in St. Louis in like 2014, who approached Patrick Haggerty, the main songwriter for it, and said, "We think you should finally get the chance of having a band. Can we be your band?" And cool. Since then, he's had this whole renaissance of his and their career. You know, he's 80 now.
Oh wow!
But very much a queer elder, a dear mentor of mine. I've known him for some years now, and he has a song called "Can't Shake the Stranger Out of You," which is his song about the difficulties of actually finding like real intimacy and real love between gay men, especially being closeted or sort of being underground. And so I really wanted to write kind of like a lesbian version of that, but that also drew on like some very real experiences from me.
I really, I don't know. It gives this sense to me, like listening to it. I think very much kind of what you're trying to convey there, but of kind of like it's something that's beautiful, but also a little bit sad and a little bit kind of uh, hmm, I don't know. Uh, I had a word. I've
Mhm.
lost it though.
Yeah. Well, when I hope that it's relatable. You know, I don't think you have to be a specific type of queer person or even a queer person at all to relate
Right,
to either
right.
this song or Patrick's original song. I think there's something pretty universal about it. And you know, I hope it strikes a chord with people. And actually, just a couple weeks ago, I was playing. It was the weekend after the release show. I was playing a really intimate, like uh, it was in this like tiny little storefront venue in Carbondale, Illinois. Um, tiny crowd, like super intimate, and I'm playing that song, and right after I say the line, she doesn't see that I still fold my blankets like a guest. This woman who's 3 feet away from me just bursts out bawling in
Oh,
tears.
oh wow.
Yeah, which was like, I'm so glad that again she had some catharsis, but was also very intense to have it so loud and so open, like 3 feet away from me. You know, it's like, do I
Right.
acknowledge it or does she want me to just keep playing the song? You know.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. Oh, queer, beautiful punk stories. Yes, we need more of it.
I there's something um, that I got really into. I'm trying to think of when this was. A few years ago, I got really into Bob Marley, and I know this is going to sound kind of out of nowhere, um, but I was
Go for it.
reading this book about Bob Marley, and kind of just going through the albums and stuff. But this one thing that they talked about of kind of how Bob Marley kind of became as big um, as he did was like how his story was in many ways so specific to him, and
Mhm.
the sort of language that he uses is the Rastafarian. Uh, uh, oh yeah, great question, Amy. What did you do? Did you keep singing? Did you talk to her after the show?
I did keep singing, but I did talk to her after the show. And I think I said we like after I went ahead and finished the song and we had like a very brief exchange right after the song and then we had a more full
Mhm.
conversation after the
Yeah,
set.
yeah. But yeah, how like the Rastafari language that he uses is so specific to sort of that time and that place that he lived in, and he's making references to Trenchtown and it like very specific to Jamaica, um, and yet the specificity that he has to like his situation is like so sort of like honest and true that
Mhm.
it ends up resonating with so many people in this kind of like global feeling. Um, and I feel like that's really kind of what you're talking about is that same idea of like you this is an experience that like it you're talking about something that's based in your own experience, but also kind of in this like general experience that like you've heard about or you know about, and then but like it it's an experience that's just about like how like love is sometimes and like seeking love is sometimes, and it doesn't really matter like who the players are, you know. It's just kind of about that journey. I don't know that it's an interesting thing to me. That's
Mhm.
and I think the intentionality that you have there is like really interesting and really nice. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me of I had a friend once tell me that he like his opinion, his really strong opinion about art was that art should be ambiguous but not vague.
Mm.
And I feel like that could probably be picked apart and debated endlessly. But I do feel like there is something of like, if something is way specific and hyper personal and there's no attempt made to bring anyone else into it, that could almost be its own kind of vagueness. And sometimes you just need to write those songs, right?
Right.
And then if it's so universal that it's so watered down, that's almost like a different type of vague.
Right.
But if
right.
it's in that ambiguity of like almost like the two-way mirror, of like, am I seeing myself in it? Am I seeing someone else's story in it? Yeah, I don't know that I ascribe to that quote as firmly as my friend does, but it's definitely something that I think about when I'm writing. Is like, is there enough ambiguity to be a reflection for many people without being kind of hyper specific or hyper generalized?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that comes to my mind about that is sort of like, I think if you try to be too universal, sometimes it stops being true to yourself, kind of. And I feel like oftentimes it's that truth that really kind of connects with people.
Yeah.
And I think that really can come from, I don't know, like the specificity kind of, and even ambiguity, I think, is often the truth of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back like the idea of trying to tell the truth as an artist. Like, whoa, that's a big thing. What is telling truth as an artist? But almost feeling like the ethics, again, I keep using that, like going back to sort of like the ethics of storytelling and the ethics of bearing witness, but that it's very different in art than just telling giving a testimony or something about that. Like truth and facts might be different in art. But that I still, again, feel that sort of responsibility to some form of truth telling and bearing witness in songwriting.
Yeah.
I just want to say this is the most beautiful and serious conversation that I've ever had with somebody with cat ears.
Have you had many conversations with cat-eared people?
You might be surprised.
Speaking of this, these cat ears of mine, I feel like so far we've kind of missed out on talking about a pretty important question on the Hot Show, which is, what animal are you?
Oh, definitely a cat.
You're also a cat?
I'm absolutely a cat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very quickly. Have you always felt like a cat?
Yes. Embarrassingly so.
Embarrassing.
When I was a small child and was learning how to talk, I would sometimes meow instead of talk to communicate my feelings. For some reason that clicked, even as I was sort of pre-verbal or in the process of learning how to be verbal.
Even a cat.
Yeah.
Before you were a child, you were a cat.
Yeah. And I would like climb up onto like shelves in a closet and curl up and sleep, or like in a laundry basket tucked under a counter somewhere. And I was very independent. I didn't understand the concept of not being able to just come and go as I please. Like going to my very first time in school, being like, I can't just walk out the door whenever I want. What are you talking about? I feel like very, very cat-like traits from the get-go.
That's really funny. I think maybe I want to bring on a friend who's kind of been hanging out, and actually someone that we haven't really seen in a while on the Hot Show.
Cool.
I have a little silly song here that I like to play. Let me see if I can do it. Hold on, I gotta take one of these out. Somebody's here. It's Luda. Hey, Luda.
Hola, hello.
How's it
Good to
going?
see you, Kat. Nice to meet you, Lynn.
Nice to meet you too, Luda.
Also a cat, though.
Also
Glad-
a cat.
Yeah, Lynn
Yeah.
just expressed also being a cat.
Yeah.
Now, Luda, I know you've kind of floated around to some different animals before. What animal would you say that you are tonight?
Oh.
Because it's not always a fixed thing. Some people kind of change depending on the night. Some people, I have been a cat this whole time, and as have you apparently.
Me, it tends to be the animals that I see that day that inspire me. So today I saw the spotted eagle ray, which is this. It's a ray that is black, and then it has these like white abstract spots on it. So they're like circles and lines, and it looks like a abstract painting from the 60s. They're like badass as fuck. Like, how the fuck did nature come up with that shit? Like she was fucking on some acid. But they move like butterflies. And so today I was on a research dive and I got to see some of those. But I've been I want to not forget what I've been wanting to tell Lynn. It's been an hour I've been watching it. I'm like, no offense, Kat. I'm like, enough about animals.
Yeah, sorry. I just, it's an important question that we need to get
It's
to
an
on the Hot Show.
important question for this show. It is.
Yeah. And I was a guinea pig once, you're right. Sorry, your question, Luda. Or your comment, whatever.
My comments. Well, first I wanted to say, it's interesting because Lynn, then you showed a video about migration with, I'm assuming Jose was from Mexico?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm living in Mexico right now. I've been here for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were talking about being somebody who does a lot of different things and how you're just like, sometimes I just want to be like, I'm a person. I just recently learned a phrase in Spanish that's un mil usos, which means like a million uses. And I was like, oh yeah, like somebody said that in reference to me, and I was like, yep, that's me. And like the woman who said that was like, me, like you're just like me, And so when you were talking about like having all these different uses, and I think it's often a common problem for activists. I'm more of like a climate change activist myself, but I've also done some immigration stuff too and just different things. But when you are an artist and also trying to make money and trying to be an activist, you oftentimes have 1,000 uses,
Absolutely.
And I like that term. I like that there's like a term, a saying for it,
Yeah, that's gonna stick with me. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Mil usos.
And
then also in the video, when Jose said that they called him maricon.
Yeah,
Do you know what that means?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah. So for the show, it's like a derogatory term for a gay person, like the F word. So when I saw that, I was just like, fuck. Like,
yeah, right.
Balls to call a child that is disgusting. And the video is interesting to me because I had friends who worked that worked with that detention center. I lived in Rogers Park. I had a couple of friends who worked volunteered with that detention center when I was there in Chicago. And then now living in Mexico and talking to my friends and having so many of my friends just like blatantly tell me like, we have no desire to go to your country. Like, your country is like based on just like, I mean, they see the capitalism in it. They see it as like, no, you just go there to like work all the time and buy a bunch of shit. And like, we have a better life here and we know it and we don't have any desire. And the people who want to go there, we think are kind of crazy. And so it's interesting to like have come from Chicago where you see these immigration issues and all the fucked up things that are happening in our country with that stuff. And then to come here and talk to people and just like hear the different perspective has been really interesting to me. So it's also interesting then to return back to that Chicago viewpoint of what's happening. It was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I feel like that's such a big myth, such a big myth of U.S. propaganda.
Yeah, and this idea that everybody wants to come there, like, no, actually, they don't.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we could spend so much time chatting about this, I'm sure, but I feel like that's one of the other myths as well, is that there are so many kids who are in those migrant detention centers who, in a lot of ways, didn't even have a choice. It's not that they're there chasing the myth of the American dream. They had to flee. And so there's also, you know, I feel like sometimes people try to co-opt those kids' stories by saying, look, they're trying to join the American melting pot, you know, so we should treat them a little bit nicer. And it's like, hell no, like, can we look at the reasons why they're having to flee their places? Because a lot of it comes back to us.
Right.
And how we've destabilized a lot of things.
There's a great,
just to not weaponize the lives of these children to enforce that myth in any way, shape, or form. Either the myth that we're the greatest nation on earth and have to protect ourselves from the invasion on one side, or the myth that they're all just trying to join us as this big happy melting pot family. You know, it's like, I feel gross about anyone who's trying to use these kids' stories to prop that up.
Yeah, there's a really great movie on Netflix. You guys should be able to get it in the States because it was put out by Netflix, I think. But it's called like I'm no longer here. I'm no longer here. No estoy aquí. I can't remember the Spanish translation, but I'm no longer here. But it's about a teenager who's grows up in Monterrey, Mexico, and he's in the cumbia scene, and they flash back and forth between like his life in the cumbia scene and like having all these friends and like having this like great life, and like the cumbia scene, he's got like this wild haircut. Like if you want to talk about like a punk rock haircut, like Kat, you should probably pull up a picture because this dude's hair, I was like, what? I've never seen hair like this. It's amazing. But he gets forced out of Monterrey because of problems with gangs, and then is stuck living in New York and is just like miserable and misses like his people and his culture and especially cumbia. And it's a really great lens, especially from like a teenager's point of view of what it's like to immigrate from Mexico to the States. And also like the music in it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with cumbia, but like, oh my God.
Yeah. love me some cumbia.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would love to see a picture of the haircut.
I'm working on it. I've almost got it.
Yes.
So
oh my God, yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a really powerful movie.
I want to be somewhat mindful. I know that you've had a full day, and so I of course, you are welcome to stay as long as you like. But I'd also kind of like to give you the uh, possibility to, limit your time if you feel like you need to. Yeah, so I don't know. I was thinking maybe we could listen to another track off the
Sure.
album. I also we do have some other friends that have joined, and I guess I'd like to I don't know, see how both of you are feeling about kind of just bringing people on. It sometimes can get a little crazy when we have everyone jumping up all at once, but it's also a pretty nice group of people. And maybe I could just kind of bring them on. We could listen to this song. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm down for more friends.
If friends would like to come on here.
Mhm.
I was also listening to your music, Lynn, before the show. I just got to listen to like 3 songs, but I was like, oh, this is some chill music. Like I'm excited to dig in more to it. I was like, this is some like I can get some stuff done to this music. It was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so one friend has been kind of hanging out for a long time, but their video isn't on right now, so I'm not sure if they're like ready to. Oh yeah, there they are. Never mind. Somebody's here. It's Garbanzo. Hi, Garbanzo. I think you're muted right now.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How's it going with you?
It's good.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Oh, bien, ¿y tú?
Bien, todo bien, gracias. Garbanzo's learning Spanish too, Lynn.
Ah, qué bien.
Who else is here?
We have one other person who just joined in. Somebody's here, and it's Max. Hey, Max.
Oh, Max.
His fancy apartment as always. Como siempre.
Are you talking, Max?
Are you wearing a shirt, Max? Because it kind of looks like you're naked. But I'm looking at my phone. Or is it the green screen that makes you look naked?
It's a certain kind of shirt. I think maybe Max is playing a joke on us. I think he can make sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love you, Amy. Bye-bye.
Have fun,
Bye.
Amy. Does it still not look like I'm wearing a shirt? I'm wearing a
It's like
Like
a
a
light
white-
tie-dye, right?
yeah.
It's
That's
like a light
exactly
tie,
what
right?
it is.
Yeah.
But it just looks like muscle, like a muscle shirt to me. I'm like looking
Well-
at my phone.
That's just me.
In your LA apartment over there.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
real quick, I know that we don't want to spend too much time on it, but I really would like to know, Garbanzo and Max, what animals are you today?
I think I'm still
I'm a human.
Max has traditionally
it
been
up.
a human. Usually is a human. One time, maybe a crow, but usually a human. Garbanzo, I think we missed.
I think I'm a raccoon. I'm still working on it. Yeah.
What's wrong with being a raccoon?
Oh, nothing.
Garbanzo is a raccoon, but a raccoon that's aspiring to be an owl. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe you won't be
Cat,
an owl
cat.
until you no longer want to be an owl and accept being a raccoon.
Hey,
Oh,
cat.
You guys see the cat? He's scaring her.
Whoa.
oh.
Hey,
What's that
cat.
cat's name?
Amigos, gato. Porque charlar con mi amigos, con Emilio. Habla mucho.
It's a very vocal cat.
Yeah, normally not. Normally not. Just today. It's weird.
Just putting on a show for us, huh?
Yeah, it's because of the cat show.
Yeah, we
She's
can't-
not really like that.
We don't often have two cats on the stream. It's kind
But
of
you know,
nice to
whenever
have
I'm on the
another
cat show, a
around.
cat shows up in my life.
Yeah, there was another episode where a pretty small kitten came and just
Ooh,
sat on Luda's lap for most of the show.
Whoa.
that's cute.
Just came out of nowhere. It was very nice. We called
It's
it
nice that
cartoon.
it was trusting.
I'm so happy to have neighborhood cats here that come and visit and just hang out. Really love
So I was thinking maybe we could listen to another track, because there is a track that I in particular would like to highlight off of this album, besides the one that we already have listened to. Let me pull it up. So I don't know if you'd want to say anything about this before, or if we should just kind of wait till after. The song that I'm thinking of is Easy. I don't know. What do you think? Should do you want to say something before, or should we just kind of wait until after?
What do you think?
I don't know. I think it can kind of go either way.
Yeah.
I don't.
My pattern is always to say something before, because that's what I do for live shows. So I'm almost tempted to not do it this time and see,
Okay.
not to just have the impression
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
song and tell the really weird story that's behind it.
Great. I'm. That sounds wonderful.
Cool.
Can you hear it?
Sorry, kid, I don't have a light. Not one for cigarettes. Don't you worry, darling. I'm just as crazy as you. Just don't drown my shakes one pack a day. Oh, pretty baby, don't make me say it. It's not easy to say that I might walk away. I'm not that easy to hold. Sorry, kid, can't be another notch on your belt. Not the kind of company. Don't you worry, honey. I'm just as restless as you. Just do my writhing underwater. Oh, pretty baby, don't make me say it. It's not easy to say that I might swim away. Not that easy to hold. I know, I might not show it at all, but I've got currents deeper than anything you could ever say. And I try to stay by your side, but I've got currents deeper than anything you could ever say. Some bright moon's gonna pull me away. Oh, pretty baby, don't make me say it. It's not easy to say that I might slip away. Not that easy to hold. Oh, pretty baby, don't make me say it. It's not easy to say that I might slip away. Not that easy to hold.
Great.
One of the days.
Yeah, definitely. You said it at the release show that about how it's kind of like a bit of a weird story on that one, but that it's a banger. And at the time, like I was like, this is cool, but like this one has like gotten into my head so much. Like it just has like, it is just like such a like fun song. I really love it.
Oh, thank you.
I like it too.
I'm glad
It
it's wormed
reminds
its
me
way
of-
in there.
No, that song was fire. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it reminds me of like well, the instrumental reminded me of Pink Floyd. I really liked your vocals on it. But what's the interesting story behind it?
So it's the entire song is my rewrite of this Croatian poem about a woman and her lover who are walking along the beach, and she wants to try to break up with him, but she and there's sort of like the implication in the poem that it's not just that he's, you know, a scrub or something like that. Like she might be scared of the intimacy, or she might be like not an easy person to love. And so instead of just telling him, she asks the moon for help breaking up with him. And instead, the moon drags her into the sea. And this was a poem that emerged. I don't even know who wrote it. I don't know the history of it. It's something that somebody recited at a jam session when I was in the Balkans. And it was a Croatian vocalist who recited this poem, and it just floored me, and it has stuck with me ever since, and is something that I can relate to as well. not the being dragged into the sea by the moon part, but so this was like my sort of bizarre pop rendition of that poem.
It would be really interesting if you could find out who wrote it. I don't know, maybe connect with them and share it.
Yeah, I would love to. I feel like if there's anyone out there who is Croatian that you know of who might know this poem or would even be able to search, like do Google searches in Croatian, because I've tried like Croatian poem about woman who gets dragged into the sea by the moon and nothing comes up. But if somebody could actually type it in Croatian,
I actually know a little bit. I actually know a little bit of Croatian too, and might be able to try to find some friends who could help.
Yeah, I would love to track down this poem because again, it was such a ephemeral thing. It was this one singer at this one, session. I think we were in Kosovo at the time, and it was like I have lost the thread. I have not been able to track this down. So I would love help with that.
That would be great if the Hot Show could help with that. Also, we generally put these. I'm very behind on it currently, but we generally put these up on YouTube. So anyone in the future watching this too, if you're Croatian and know this poem, please reach out. It would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Hot can connect us, Lynn, and I can see if I can try to help too.
Also, this is a great time to say follow Lynn Rye Music on Instagram. Is your primary social media correct?
I have that same handle on Twitter, but I'm pretty scared of Twitter and I don't really go on there. So
great.
For me, it's the opposite. I hate Instagram, but I am kind of addicted to Twitter, and I have to force myself to post on Instagram.
wow.
That's funny.
I'm so interested in what the sort of the differences in that, like what personality type is revealed by which social media platform you hate or fear the most.
That's a really good question. And I have kind of wondered about that. Like, what does it, I mean, I think part of it is just like, I don't feel like I get very much back when I post on Instagram, like there are no conversations, nothing happens. At most I get some likes, and that's not very addictive to me, I guess. I just find it boring.
Because you're not finding a community and getting any input back.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do you find that because I feel like I know some people who are really into Twitter who are mostly just spectators. They just love the spectacle and the discourse and just the format of it all. And then there are other people who really love Twitter because that's how they communicate and they really engage with people and are active in putting things out on Twitter. Are you?
I like engagement. Like engagement is really the number one thing. Like, I mean, I wouldn't even be on social media if I didn't want engagement. So for me, that like just sharing something doesn't really do anything unless it's promotional, which is why I force myself to use Instagram, because it's like a promotional thing. But why do you use Instagram? Like, do you just like sharing things and you're not too concerned about what happens after that? Because that's kind of how I imagine it would be.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I do get a lot of engagement on Instagram from people responding to stories. Like my DMs are always
interesting. I don't really ever share stories, and I don't really find it easy to. I know that that's a good thing to do.
That's the only thing I like about Instagram. I don't ever post, but I love doing stories.
What do you mean? Like, you don't post? How do you do stories? Oh, you mean like stories?
I just post
like
directly to stories, but I don't like to post to
I
my
thought-
feed or whatever. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought you meant like you were posting and talking about stories, like
Yeah,
you're
I'm actually
sharing
curious.
stories.
I'm curious.
Given the content of this entire night's conversation, yes, that was very ambiguous. No, I meant like the stories function. Sorry.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
The long one, the long boys.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. I do post to stories sometimes. It seems like a story can be more like random or something that isn't as important, and you can just post pretty much anything, whereas like something on you would post on your feed has to be more important. Is that how you would interpret it?
I guess I can only speak to how I use stories personally, and I feel like I often do like I do a combination of sort of like either funny things or music related things, like little snippets, and then within that share a lot of either mutual aid information or like educational information. And so it's like a very discrete sort of packaging of like a whole, you can, if you just scroll through my day's stories, you get a mixture of content. And this, I don't know, to me, saying this out loud, it sounds a little manipulative, honestly, but it seems to be a recipe that I've noticed more and more people engage with. There seems to be something about that that's different than, you know, if it's just a single post with just one type of content in that, you know, that you're scrolling, then people might move past. But if I sort of package a bunch of stuff all together just in one day of, you know, stories, people look at all of it and then actually engage with all of it.
Oh,
is
that's
what I-
Interesting.
No, I do the same thing where it's like, here was me on a boat today. Oh, so fun. And then it's like, and now we're gonna talk about capitalism. Me on the boat again. So fun. Oh, let's talk about climate change. Like, because I think also we're so inundated with these like heavy messages all the time. It's kind of nice to package them mixed, because sometimes you don't want to engage with all that shit and you need to see something that is lighter.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it kind of makes sense to me that I don't really enjoy Instagram because I really don't like sharing things about my day. Like, I can't even imagine doing that.
Well, yeah.
It's really interesting.
Listening to this and knowing you, Max, I also like so much of what I see you post about, especially on Instagram, is like sort of like discrete packages of like a creative project that you're working on, kind of like it's very kind of it's something that you have spent time sort of curating as that thing, and not like just like, oh, this is kind of like a funny little thing. And when I see you on Twitter, like it's either that or like a sort of conversation that you're having with somebody.
Which is interesting because, like, at some point, Twitter started showing conversations people were having, and they didn't always do that. So there was a time when those conversations were private and nobody would ever see them. And it was kind of random. I mean, I didn't really use Twitter that much back then, but just kind of like in the time that I've been using Twitter, they changed that. So it was weird. But I haven't really changed my way of dealing with it because otherwise I would never really even go on Twitter. And I guess I go on it sometimes because I do want to have conversations with random people that I don't even know and, you know, like say something that I think about what they're talking about.
And I think that's part of what makes Twitter so powerful and such a cool tool. I also think that's part of what scares me about it, because I feel like the ways that I want to engage with people and actually have conversations, I tend not to want those to be like public for everybody to see. And like with Instagram, like people often respond like DM from the stories. And sometimes we even then move those conversations to Signal, to WhatsApp, to like more secure, platforms, even to like keep engaging and like go deeper. And I wonder if part of that is just my own hangups about Twitter and I should push myself, or if it, again, it's just one of those personality tests of like what kind of
I don't know.
are you wanting with people.
Yeah.
I definitely like get not wanting your conversations to be public, especially for me. Like, I don't love that it will post something I say on other people's feeds, like a random conversation they have nothing to do with. It's like, I kind of want to be in charge of what I'm sharing with my followers. I don't want them to have to see me arguing with some person about something stupid, or something important. But it's like, if I talk about something important, I don't always want to be the person arguing about something. So that is something that I still haven't really 100% figured out, because part of me wanted to change and stop doing that, but then I just didn't. And I don't really want to. I just want to, or I think it would be better for my promotional purposes, which is the only reason I'm really on social media, because I just don't, I don't know, other than promotion, I don't really find it. I mean, I guess I've met some cool people, so there is that, but I wouldn't have been on it if it wasn't for the fact that I felt like it was really important for promotional and business purposes,
I also I love in this conversation how none of us are talking about Facebook. And I'm very curious, like what is the very last Facebook argument that you ever got into?
Brett Kavanaugh.
I lost my password like 2 years ago and haven't been able to log in to my account.
Oh no.
I don't know if it's a no.
Yeah. For me, it was like during COVID-19, I got into an argument with my uncle and he ended up deleting me on Facebook. So, and he commented on my post. So I was like, you got mad at me because I disagree with you on the post that I made. I felt very offended by that. But after arguing with people for a while, I realized that there was probably no point. So I just got really tired of it. I actually do still post on Facebook though, sometimes. Like I do keep like a Facebook page for my music and all that stuff, because I do still have some people who that would be the only real way to keep in touch with them. But I definitely don't really use it for fun. I think that it's pretty dead.
Mm-hmm.
I've had an interesting relationship with Instagram, like over the last 6 months or so. I met this artist who was pretty inspiring. She like really puts herself out there, and like she wasn't trained in school. I was trained in school, but she was like putting herself out there in like this way that I found like super inspiring. And we had a conversation about social media and specifically Instagram. And she was like, I just had to start viewing it as like me building a community. And I was like, oh, that's like when I start to think about Instagram as community, like that shifts for me the way of like thinking about it. And recently, like I deal with like imposter syndrome, like up the fucking wazoo. And so I've been posting a lot in Spanish lately. And so my imposter syndrome is like, fucking bitch, why are you posting in like Spanish or whatever? And then, so I like, but when I like have these thoughts, I like to check them and like, fact check them. So I was like, let's look at the people who followed your story today and look at how many of them speak Spanish. And like half of the people who followed my story that day spoke Spanish. So I was like, yeah, well then it makes sense. You're posting in Spanish half the time. Like, but so I think it's that was just an interesting thing for me about thinking about like the community in which I'm trying to like engage with and talk to. And also like Kat and I had a conversation this week just about when you're an artist, this idea of like trying to like go big and trying to like make, you know, we had this pressure of like making a name for ourselves, but like when you reduce it and you start to like engage in like the community that you have around you, then you're able to like propel yourself and you're able to like make deep connections. So I guess now I'm just thinking of Instagram as like, yeah, I'm just talking to the people that I know. And I'm not, and I think that's what's interesting about stories versus posts, because I'm not hashtagging, I'm not trying to get new followers. And recently I've been getting new followers. I'm like, how the fuck are they finding me? Like, I'm not even like looking for them. But like, I don't know, it's an interesting thing.
I like the
It is
fact
interesting.
that the conversation is kind of kept private on Instagram. Like, I've been finding just people from my past who are like, hey, you want to do an album cover for me? And it's like, this like, it's going to be a can cracked open with bugs coming out of it. And it's like, that's awesome, cool. And if I wasn't on Instagram, that kind of opportunity wouldn't like show its face.
Right.
I guess it's just,
I got a job because of a Twitter post.
there you go.
Isn't that wild?
I've never been on Twitter. I don't know what it's like. I don't know anything about it really.
That's okay.
Okay.
Do you all know the restaurant Garib Nawaz in Chicago?
I don't.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic cash-only Pakistani restaurant, but their
Ooh, where is
Twitter
it?
is off the chain.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody, like some, I'm assuming like a young person who's part of the family business runs the Twitter. It is so funny.
Oh no, I
there's,
should check
like,
that out.
Yeah, that's one of the few reasons that I go on Twitter, is just to check what spicy new content has been released from the Garib Nawaz Twitter account.
What kind of stuff do they put on there?
Should I bring up the Garib Nawaz Twitter account and
I'm
read
interested.
you
Sure.
Garib Nawaz speaks?
I while you're doing that, I want to say that yeah, like Luda and I were talking that about like how like it's important, I think, to bring kind of bring yourself to like who you are connected to already and who you can connect to like right around you. And I have to say, Lynn, I think you're very good at that. I think that going to your album release, the thing that like struck me the most was just like everybody there like had this relation to you in some way, and it was like, and everyone was just so excited to be there and to be like celebrating this thing with you. And I think it's a good skill that you have, and it's in some ways why you're here also, like that we haven't like connected like a ton, but like the connection that we have made has been like this kind of like strong and like beautiful little thing.
Well,
all right,
damn, Hot the Cat, you're gonna make me cry again. I definitely teared up at the release show, that's for sure, because of all the reasons that you were describing and more. I mean, it's just so touching to feel like this music is part of actual relationships, and not just relationships with me, but there are people who have friendships because of coming to these shows.
Yeah.
Like people who met at, like a Lynn Rye show,
Right. And honestly, that's something that is here. Like Luda didn't know Max or Garbanzo before, but like Garbanzo and Luda, I know it like had like a nice like phone conversation. Like has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And like, it's so cool. It's like the coolest thing in the world to see that happen.
Such a great feeling.
Hey, I have to go get dinner. I'll try to come back though.
Yeah, if we're still going. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for stopping in for now. Enjoy.
Have a good dinner.
So nice to meet you, Luda.
You too. Thanks for sharing your music and your projects. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Buenas noches. Bye.
Bye. Now, were you gonna? Did you figure out how to share your screen?
Yes, I can. Here we go.
I'm pretty curious about this because I that was one of our pandemic places that we would get from. It's so cheap and so good.
Mm-hmm.
How cheap is it? Like, what is their meal price? Average or whatever.
It's hard to describe because often you just get like a bunch of small things. Like it's just like one of those like little containers, you know?
No, I don't really understand. Is it like a deli?
No, it's Pakistani food. So
Yeah, I've never been to a Pakistani restaurant, so I don't really know how they distribute their food like that.
I mean, it's pretty similar. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say my security preferences are not letting me share my screen. I lied, but I put it in the chat if someone else wants to bring it up.
I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here. Okay, let's check this out. Let's see what's going on. I mean, already, eat, grab, was, or else.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Thanksgiving. That's nice. That's a cool event.
I feel like I've seen that very specific building in Chicago, but it could be from a very different area, but that's like a very Chicago looking.
So you can put pictures on Twitter.
You can.
Oh.
Twitter is good for artists. I've heard it's better than Instagram now.
I thought it was just like people talking on there.
Yeah, but you can talk about pictures.
Ah.
All right.
That works. That's perfect.
Oh no, I'm not signed into my Twitter on here. So
well, let's give you a little taste of the group Noah's Twitter and all of its finery.
Yeah.
There's a lot more where that came from.
Follow for more.
Yeah.
Will you put the link up?
I guess. Sure.
Yeah. Let's do it. As if they will ever know how big of fans we are on the Pop the Cat show, but maybe they will.
If you post this as a clip, maybe they'll retweet it.
Maybe. Oh wow.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up greeting great.
Well, we really covered some ground today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You never really know where the conversation's going to go. When this night started, I never would have thought we would end up having an in-depth discussion about social media preferences and engagement.
Well, I learned a lot.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it might be nice to kind of just wrap the show up. This has been like a really lovely evening. Thanks so much for being here, Lynn. This is really such a pleasure. I don't know. I have really been looking forward to this, and this was like everything that I could have hoped.
Oh, good. I've been looking forward to this too. I'm glad we did it, and thank you, Max and Garbanzo, for joining. And so nice to meet Lita as well. And yeah, just feeling really grateful for head to toe of this experience.
Yeah, I will say, of course, you're a guest tonight, but you are definitely welcome back anytime, even if you just want to pop in and say hi or comment in the chat or something. Like, I think it's a really, this tries to be a space that you can just kind of drop in. And
I'm going to be a cat every time. I know you will ask, but I am going to be a cat every time.
Yeah, that's nice. It's nice to, I feel like a lot of the other animals that show up to this are kind of shapeshifters. So it's nice to have another cat that's like, I know that you're going to be a cat.
I got you, brother.
Is there anything that you would like to promote? Obviously, we've been talking about your album this whole time. I have the this. Go check this out for links to various things, especially to the album. Also, I went on your website before the show, and I saw that you had put this show on your website as like an upcoming event. That was so nice of you.
Yeah, I was excited. I told you I was excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to kind of promote before? And this kind of goes for everyone, but we'll start with you, Lynn.
Yeah, I think maybe one of the only links that's on that link tree that we didn't talk about tonight was the place where I live, Casa Al Fatiha. There's a link. Our link to that house is part of the link tree. And Casa Al Fatiha, we're a autonomous sanctuary house for queer and trans asylum seekers and people coming out of detention. And then two of us, myself included, are just kind of like the peer residents there. And there's, could say a lot about that house, but one of the things that's relevant about that house, and if you want to get connected, is that we are a drop-off point for donations for the migrant families who have been bused from Texas. We're one of the collection sites for that. So if you have supplies that you want to give, you can direct message us, Casa Al Fatiha, and we'll give you the address. We're not putting the address out publicly for some security reasons, but if you just message us, we'll tell you where it is if you happen to have any donations.
And is that an Instagram?
Yeah, it's that same. It's just at Casa Al Fatiha on Instagram.
It looks like you also have a Patreon, which people could support.
Yes, they can.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, support that. Or else. Lovely. Just lovely. Max, do you have anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah, I do. I have a few things to promote. One, I finally released the digital version of Ruby and Rusty, so you can get the full version of that, but I'm also having a sale of a bundle of that. Like, that's on sale. Normally it would cost, I think it's $8, but now it's on sale for like 6 or 5. No, it's on sale for $5 right now. But there's also a bundle of all my games, which is on sale for $12, and that's at maxoakland.itch.io. And I also released a new remix of I Prefer the Dusk. That's a faster version, which I think is cool. It kind of brings a different emotion into the song and makes it more like excited rather than nostalgic.
Now, to give a little bit of context to you, Lynn, Ruby and Rusty is a Game Boy game that Max made from scratch.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I did write a
And you can play the demo on that website that
Sweet.
Hot posted.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a great little game. Yeah. I did write a little song about that game. But I mean, I could play it, but also I feel like we're sort of winding down.
I don't know. It would be kind of fun to hear it again.
I'll
Maybe you can do like a short version.
I could. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't have.
If you're trying to get out of here, Lynn, I don't want to extend it.
I would love to hear the song about it's Ruby and Rusty. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I would love to hear.
Ruby and Rusty Save the Crows.
Let me see if I can. I'm gonna take. Down in Grandma Onion's garden while working in the flower bed, she found a girl with a tomato and a boy with a beet for a head. Ruby and Rusty, such a trusty pair, grew from the dusty earth, but now jump through the air. From the coop to the corn to the witch's lair. Well, one brisk Halloween, Ma went and put a costume on that old scarecrow in the garden. Well, that scarecrow had jumped up, turned into an evil witch, and just about frightened all them crows. Well, Ruby and Rusty, they sure didn't like that. They were friends with those crows, so they set off on an adventure across the farm and looked for their feathered friends. Maybe even get their old friend the scarecrow back. Ruby and Rusty, such a trusty pair, grew from the dusty earth, now jump through the air. From the coop to the corn to the witch's lair.
It's a great trailer for the game.
Yeah, it did get used as the music for a updated trailer.
Yeah, which I used to promote the digital release, which I'm talking about. So it's actually very fitting that you performed it. And yeah, a lot of people liked it. Like, he got a lot of nice comments.
Some of the most engagement that I've ever gotten about a song, and it wasn't even me doing anything except for writing a silly little song.
I'm really enjoying the idea of like if someone like stomps out with a scarecrow and puts the scarecrow down, going like, "Those crows were my friends."
Yeah, I didn't think about it when I was creating it, but people pointed out that crow or scarecrow is scarecrow, so it's not like, I was just kind of thinking the scarecrow became a winch and went too far. But that's kind of their job, to scare them away. So
Yeah. Now, Garbanzo, do you have anything that you want to promote?
There's a really cool show at the Zach in Missoula. If anybody's ever in
Missoula,
Missoula,
Montana? Yeah.
yeah, November 4th. It's called Something Trashy, and it's all about using recycled materials.
that's cool. I wish I could go to that. I would totally go.
Cool. I'm psyched. I think I'm gonna have like 3 paintings there, but there's gonna be a
Cool.
bunch of people in it.
I can't show it very well, but this painting right here is a Garbanzo painting.
Made of video cassette tapes.
That's cool. I've been admiring that painting behind you all night.
Try to make
You painted it on a video cassette tape? Is that what you said?
There's a lot of ripped open.
Yeah, I really wish that my camera was showing it a little bit better. I'm sure it's hard to see.
I mean this in the the most complimentary possible way of it makes so much sense that you said that you're a raccoon in process.
Yeah. I make
Oh my god, this makes sense knowing that you made that piece that I've been admiring all night and it's a raccoon in process. Yeah.
I would like to if it's okay with you, Garbanzo, I'd like to promote this this website that is just, you know, apropos of nothing, is this website to check out.
I haven't updated that in so long. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, but
it says up to 2020 on there still. So it's
but
old.
I will say, like, for someone who is unfamiliar with your art, I think it gives at least an introduction into and honestly, there's some amazing pieces that are on there that it's a shame that you can't give the 3-dimensional experience on online like that, because there's so much more than just you can see that this is a very 3-dimensional piece, and so much of Garbanzo's work is like that.
When is the Hot Show gonna do a VR experience of Garbanzo's work?
Yeah, maybe when we get some better funding, more funding than $0 dollars.
Like $1 maybe?
Yeah, maybe if we got
that's
$1,
over 1,000,000% increase.
I'm gonna have to switch to doing the segment type things. Maybe I'll make that a segment, just like going in and out of a painting.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be cool.
You have to switch to segments?
Yeah, my schedule changed at work, so I'm not going to be here regularly anymore.
Oh.
It's a very sad.
It's a shame.
Sad thing, but
I need health insurance. I'm doing it.
Well, you might be able to get on Medicaid.
I make too much money, but not enough to live well at the same time.
Yeah, that's a real problem.
Yeah,
that's called the benefits gap.
Yeah,
it's well known.
What a country.
Truly. At least we can eat Garib Nawaz.
You can. I don't get that. I would like to.
Road trip from Chicago to Missoula, bearing gifts of.
This has been discussed, actually. This idea has been discussed a little bit before.
Bring some when you come. It'll
You
survive.
should do a road trip from Chicago to Missoula to LA.
We can just tour the west side of the country.
Hey, Lynn, you want to go on a tour?
Yeah. Absolutely. I've
I'm
lived
very
in a
excited
band
about
in jazz.
that one show. You never know.
For myself, I would like to promote two things, actually, if you'll be willing to hear two things out. One of them is that I will be going to Missoula this coming month, and I will be playing a show with my band, The Kitchen, and we haven't played a show together in 5 years, and I think it's going to be a real fun time. Garbanzo is also going to be playing a set that night, as well as the Tesseract, who incidentally, when performing, wears an owl mask. It should be a great animal night.
Are they from Missoula?
They are, yeah. It's Sean Burris.
I'm working on his illustration right now of him as an owl. So all of his pictures,
Yeah,
almost none of them have the owl mask that I have found.
Keep a lookout for the poster. I've seen a draft of it, and it looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And speaking of posters, I'd like to share this out. Next week is a special hot show. It will be on my birthday, and Max just made this poster. We're having a hot show chili night. Make some chili and come join in. I think it'll be a fun time. Like, it's getting a little cooler out. And it's time. I think it's getting to be time to have some chili. So just drop in, tell us what you made in your chili, and hang out for a minute and just enjoy a night. So I'm going to do something that'll be kind of silly. I'm going to go to the bathroom, but first I'm going to do this. Skunky!
Hey, I'm back.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I want to show you guys because we're talking about art and animals again. Oh, Skunky's here too.
Ooh, what are you having for dinner?
I'm having tacos con pastor, and then they also have these like potatoes that are like the closest thing that I can get to mashed potatoes on the island, which is like my comfort food back home.
I love mashed potatoes.
And so I love this place because you get mashed potatoes for free.
What are tacos like there? Like, are there any differences?
Oh wait, I just spilled it on my computer. I'm trying to share.
Oh no!
I'm trying to show you the tacos.
It looks really
The tacos
good.
are unreal, but Cozumel's not even known for the food. I'm going to Puebla next month, and I'm sure I'm going to have crazy food.
Isn't that where the battle of Cinco de Mayo took place?
What about Cinco de Mayo?
Isn't where the battle of Cinco de Mayo took place?
Puebla, yeah, very good. Which Cinco de Mayo is not the Independence Day of Mexico, turns out.
Right.
September 11th.
Oh.
16th, September 16th. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just happened. Yeah.
Oh, what'd you do for it?
Oh, I got really lucky. So the night before Independence Day, there's the El Grito, where they reenact the call to arms. That was like this speech that this priest gave that caused like the Independence Day. So all the president and like all the mayors in Mexico will go in public and like reenact the El Grito, which is pretty much like Vivo el gente, like live the people, Vivo el Mexico, and everybody's like Viva Biba. It was really cool. And so we like I went to like a dinner party and they had food and we watched the El Grito. And then the next day I went to it was like a DIY show in Cozumel, which I haven't seen anything like this. It was like this woman in her 60s who was like this DJ princess queen from like Tulum who was like mixing two records, and they had like a saxophone player and a guitarist and like a bongo drum player, and it was like one of the most insane nights of my life. It was, and I
Sounds
also like
really cool.
seeking art so much that I was just like, what is happening? It was pretty badass. But I was thinking, because you guys were just talking about art and animals, I want to share with you the eagle ray, the animal that I am today.
Please.
If I can figure out how to do it. Okay. Sure. Can you see it? This is the eagle ray. Can you guys see it?
Nope.
No?
You have to share it.
Fuck. Okay. Oh no, I have
Yeah,
to go
there's
to
a little share
system
icon.
preferences.
If you want, I can.
I don't know how to do all this. It's got complicated.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
I don't know. This is too advanced.
Yeah.
The amount of times that has set me back, that exact same thing. Just, I don't want to do this.
I was so excited because it's like an abstract painting and art. What the fuck? Yeah.
Here I found.
Did you find one?
Hey.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Oh wow.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's a
but that one just has a spot.
Wings.
Can you try to find one that has the circles and the lines? Because that's a different species than I saw today.
Well, this is a white spotted eagle, right? Okay, hold on.
How deep are they usually?
Okay. I'm taking a class on them. So they feed on the bottom, but they hang out in the middle level. Yeah, there we go. Check that shit out. The fuck?
When you first said that you had seen an eagle ray, you were like, yeah, I saw one today. I was like, you live in Chicago, and like where are these eagle ray hanging out? Like, where's the spot? Like,
yeah,
I know we get weird things in the river sometimes, but hell.
Yeah, no, we're actually we're pretty spread around. I think actually of this group, only you and I, Lynn, are in Chicago.
Ah, there we go.
We've got a Cozumel, we've got an LA, we've got a Missoula, Montana, and who knows where Skunky is?
No one knows.
I am on
Hey, Skunky.
Highway 117. I'm making my way out of the UP right now.
Oh.
So you're in Michigan?
Correct, at the moment.
But making your way out.
Right.
Where are you headed?
Back to Janesville, Wisconsin, to drop my empty and hopefully get another load.
Well, here, this one's pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah. So eagle rays also have two penises. Check that shit out.
That's not so special.
That's so special.
I don't know if I'm going to Google that one.
It's really hard to find.
Oh.
Do they use
Something else that's really hard to find, fellas? Am I right?
What'd you say?
I said I know something else that's really hard to find, fellas. Am I right?
The second
Ladies,
eagle
am I
ray
right?
penis.
Are there
I wouldn't say you should limit that necessarily.
Well, it's really hard to find. If you Google it, most of the photos are showing female eagle rays. The eagle ray penis is pretty large. Now, when you Google, most of the eagle rays you see are females. But on Instagram today, I actually shared, if you look at my stories, I plug.
I was gonna ask Luda what you wanted to promote, and I'm so glad that this is what you have chosen.
See, this is what Instagram is for.
If you want to show, after we look at Garbanzo's website, if you want to show my Instagram stories, we can all see the Eagle Ray penises.
P9.
I looked it up. It's actually penises. I googled it because I was like, "Is it P9?"
Not
No,
P9? I thought it was P9.
right?
No, that ending only happens with a US.
I have a friend who refers to penises plural as pyenus.
Pyenus?
Mhm.
Let's see if I'm signed into my Instagram.
Somehow we managed to cover even more ground.
Yeah, this is what happens. The longer we stay on this, the wider we'll go. Especially if Amy is on the stream, but it happens anyway.
Because Amy just asks really crazy questions.
Love that. Love that.
Oh,
We've got into some weird things over the time.
I also just wanted to say that I am so genuinely excited to check out all of your projects. I feel like I've gotten little snippets of all of your personalities and all of your art, and just really truly I'm excited to check it all out, and have really enjoyed the snippets that I've gotten to taste. The trailer for the video game, the painting that has been hanging on the wall the whole time, and Luda just talking about everything that you're doing, and I will definitely check out the Instagram. So the plugs are not wasted on me.
I don't know if
It's the first time I've heard your music, and I absolutely adore it. It's lovely, and I'm gonna listen to it for sure.
I don't know if there's a good way to do your stories and stuff, Luda, but I can absolutely check out on Instagram, follow, and engage. You know, whoever. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear you say that, Lynn, because I think that everyone who comes and hangs out here are just some of the coolest people that I know, and it's cool to hear someone who's never met any of them agree with that, because I've known all these people for a long time.
Yes, thank you for introducing me to your cool friends.
What I kind of like is that in some ways, I don't feel like I introduced you, but that everyone has introduced themselves, kind of. I don't know. It's nice. It's a really nice thing.
So I will say I probably do need to sign off here pretty soon. I'm losing a bit of steam.
Yeah.
Feeling the rest calling my name.
I think that there is a chance that maybe we could just call it a night, unless anyone really wants to keep going. But I am also feeling kind of tired. I have come to the end of a road, 2-month-long road today, and rest also kind of calls me.
What do you mean?
I think I'd like to just keep that mysterious.
Oh, okay.
I think that'd be fun.
Oh, we have a robot.
Skunky.
Seems like Skunk is still driving down the 2-month road.
That's a really good robot impression.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Well, the what usually happens here at the end of a Hot Show episode is I kind of play a little song. Thanks so much to Lynn, obviously, for coming and sharing and being so willing to kind of just be really open about kind of your process and what you're doing. I feel like we could have talked for a long time, and I really hope that we talk more. Of course, you're welcome back here, but also just like as a human and stuff, you know, as humans that meet in the world, I really hope we continue to.
I second that.
And thanks so much to Garbanzo, Max, Skunky, Luda. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Anyone who has watched Amy earlier, any silent watchers, anyone watching in the future that has ended up watching for 2.5 hours, thanks. It's really nice that you did that. Yeah, thanks so much for being here. That was the Hot Show. Thank you all for coming down. That was the Hot Show. Thank you all for sticking around. I hope you had some fun, but now the show is done. So go on, get out of here. Thanks. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much.